Hi, my dear Gemini friends. Here is your yearly forecast for 2022. I hope you will like this video. I try to put as much information as possible. I worked a lot with these videos. I've also prepared 4 additional videos about 2022 where I went in depth in regards to the energies. So I recommend listening to those. Also, you might want to be listening to your sun and moon sign too. The sun will be kind of giving you clues about your professions as well as your life purpose. And the moon sign is about your emotional well-being as well as your family matters. Now, I think you have been quite affected in 2020, 2021, because you had all these type of eclipses happening in your 1st and 7th house. But it was also about unlocking your potentials with the node in the 1st house. Now, this shift is going to happen at the beginning of 2022 when the nodes will be going into your 6th and 12th house. So somehow it will be actually testing whether you unlocked your natal potentials or not. So that's definitely going to be huge for you. The nodes in the 1st house were really much about gaining confidence as well as just kind of changing your life for the better. If you didn't do that, this nodal shift can be actually quite challenging. The north node will be in your 12th house and the south node will be in the 6th house. So I would like you to kind of use the next couple of months to see what type of changes you made in the last 18 months. Kind of like do a spring clean about the unnecessary things and the necessary things, because that could be actually quite important for you. So, but this shift is going to be happening at the beginning of the year, as I said, and the North Node will be conjuncting your 12th house cusp. Now, this could be all about spiritual awakening. So you haven't missed anything just yet if you didn't unlock your talents. It might be about discovering some additional kind of like hidden talents, hidden abilities. You might become very interested in spiritual matters actually, or kind of like the spirit essence of a person. It could be kind of like a green light for a spiritual development overall, but it could also bring in something to do with your creativity, or even you might want to be traveling far away places. So this is the house of retreat. This is the house of spiritual knowledge. So that will be actually important, how you merge the factual knowledge with the spiritual knowledge overall. Now, it is also talking about using your spiritual knowledge in a tangible way. So how will you use what you have learned in the last 18 months to actually make your life better? In traditional astrology, 12th house is so much to do with your career, because it's one of the houses which is actually sextiling your midheaven. Meaning that if I'm able to unlock some of my hidden talents, that could really benefit for my career. So for instance, imagine that you are going to be working on a project and therefore you're going to retreat a little bit, right? And, you know, you're not going to be socializing as much, which is quite, you know, like surprising for Gemini rising sign, because it's all about being part of a community, typically a local community. It's about maybe you're going to have this increased desire to help others, especially if you had kind of this awakening in the last 18 months. You unlocked your natal potentials, and now I can actually pioneer others. Remember, there is going to be this Uranus, North Node, Mars, and Urania conjunction happening in your 12th house in the middle of the year, sometimes July. So therefore, that could be actually showing a desire to become an astrologer, for instance, or the desire to somehow help people in crisis situations. You kind of become like a protector of others, or a spiritual guide to others. And it might be just the fact that you're going to take someone underneath your wing and then somehow you become a mentor for them. Now, of course, this could also talk about interacting with the dead, interacting with people in hospitals. You might become actually charitable. You're going to be visiting the underprivileged people. You might actually feel sorry for the homeless on the streets and all those type of things. So the South Node in the 6th house will be actually talking to you about rearranging some of your priorities. So what's efficient, what's not so efficient in my everyday life? And actually sometimes leaving the mundane concern a little bit behind and then actually focusing on the spiritual growth a little bit more. It could actually, now pay attention, because the South Node can actually indicate that I'm completely ignoring my physical health. Or I'm going to be ignoring the habits or the health regimes or the work routines. We can become sometimes a little bit scattered. So for instance, you might be used to drinking your coffee at 9 a.m. and then it's going to be happening at 11, and then your daily routine is somehow messed up. So I don't like the phrase for South Node to let go of something. I think it's more of our comfort zone, but it's also how I am going to be actually in a harmonious balance between the 6th and the 12th house. Now, it's actually very possible that you have been sick for a while because your body has been impacted significantly in the last 18 months. So how I will be actually choosing spirituality over like medical matters to actually overcome some of our challenges. So it does talk to you about checking out your fears, checking out those monsters underneath the bed, and how I can eliminate them even once and for all. So this unfortunately can trigger further illnesses, but I would say that typically, if you don't recognize your potentials to grow, and the growth can be coming from the work environment. So this could be a frustrating work environment. You might feel burned out because of your work or the daily activities. So it's about finding time to meditate, to actually be with yourself a little bit more. Hopefully, it does not lead to hospitalizations. Because that would be actually an indicate of a longer recovery or healing process as well. So I'd like you to be actually mindful about that. Now, it could be actually bringing in just new interest in work. How I would like to serve humanitarian causes, or how I would like to serve just my own principles, really, because the nodes will be in Taurus, and that's about principles. That's about kind of like stamina. So you can have this Saturn inside with that Uranus, Uranium, Mars, North Node conjunction in July, especially. It's going to be happening on 18 degree. So those will be affected the most who might have got a planet around between to 20 degree, 15 to 20 degree of Taurus. Then you might want to be looking at that planet, what it rules in your natal chart. Because it might be talking about that's where you're going to have some type of spiritual enlightenment, or that's what you should be working towards to. So this transit happens every 18 years. You might want to be looking back in time, what was going on in your life 18 years before. So we are talking about sometimes in 2004, 2005-ish. You know, it is about spiritual development, health, work-related matters, and something to do with future development as well. Something which needs to be left in the past and then kind of like carry on that journey of the renewal. Probably it was a factual journey in the last 18 months, now a little bit of a spiritual integration as well, which should be coming with it. Now, another major aspect is that the node, the South Node, the ruler, Mars, will be actually conjuncting your first house cusp. And that is the reason why I believe that this is a continuous, ongoing learning process for you. So you started something in 2020 May, maybe, or between 2020 May to 2021 December. And Mars will actually require you to energize those fields. So you might have had this epiphany, is that the word? I think so. So you might have had this sudden insight, and we need to energize that. The body is very much about how to gain more confidence, how to gain more strength and vitality to actually go through and conquer those monsters, those inner demons, what we've got. So it's about initiating, driving a new lifestyle. If you have been contemplating on that in the last 18 months, then actually Mars will tell you that it is time to keep going about that. Whatever Mars touches, it kind of heats those houses up. So the body can be overheated. So from a physical point of view, this could talk about temperature. This could talk about fever, but this could talk about just becoming very passionate about your body, for instance. So I think this year you need to start a new health regime. You need to start working out, because the physical body and the spiritual body is very emphasized in your chart. And how can I bring the physical and the spiritual body together? It is all about initiating new projects. It is all about working on your physics, so it can be a lot more magnetic. And actually with Mars in your first house can become magnetic to the physical, to the opposite sex or to the same sex, depending on who you choose. Now, it might be actually about working with your fears in regards to relationship, because the North Node in the 12th house emphasizes the fact that you're going to have to let go of something. Now, the South Node is in the 6th, so maybe some type of unhealthy attachment to relationships, or actually the fears why I'm not able to be in a relationship. So I think this Mars is telling you to kind of socialize a lot more, not just because of Gemini, but Mars rules your 11th house also, which is about the friends, the benefactors, the advisory people in our life. So that might become actually very important. I think this Mars retrograde is bringing your attention to let go of some of your fears around changing job, around getting into a relationship, or around leaving a relationship behind, around getting pregnant, or whatever the topic is. Now, sometimes with Mars in the first, we can become too pushy. We want to win at all costs. And then we can start arguing, especially in Gemini. We want to be pushing our opinion across. We want to be fighting typically by words. With the 6th and the first house, unfortunately, watch out for accidents, because you can be a little bit reckless. You can be taking actions too hastily or rashly. You can actually initiate some type of war and fighting in a sense. I know these are very negative, but I want to be giving you the pros and the cons as well all together. So you've got all the information what you need. Okay, so the next important things is Jupiter, which is in your 10th house in the first 6 months of the year. Now, this is very positive from career advancements point of view. So again, remember Mars rules your 11th house, right? Which is about your long-term goals. Jupiter also will be entering your 11th house at the second part of the year. So what are your long-term goals? How are you going to become a winner in regards to those? Are you going to initiate those? You might have had the ideas in the last 18 months. It's about pushing the gas pedal, but very carefully though, because once Mars is retrograde, it might want you to slow down a little bit. But Jupiter will be in the sign of Aries at the same time, which definitely just gives you the opportunities when it comes to your long-term goals. And then I'm just scratching my head, which way to go? So Mars needs to become strategic here. Mars needs to become kind of like looking around and then trying to pick the best opportunity ever. So there is kind of like this speculation going on with this Jupiter moving into your 10th and 11th house later on. I think this could be actually talking about being recognized for hard work, It could talk about some type of luck when it comes to things like legal matters, for instance. Your business can expand. It might be actually a contractual agreement with a business partner, or you are receiving a new project which you can actually work on. But Jupiter sometimes becomes unclear in the sign of Pisces. Especially I would be watching out in April, May, while Jupiter is going to be having its conjunction to Neptune, because we can build these huge ideas, or we can become very ethical. And don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with having a moral code, but when we get stuck to it, or when we stick to it way too much, then it's like, you know, when the horse is wearing that thingy. I love the word thingy. I really picked it up in England. Yeah, when you are wearing that kind of thingy there, and then you don't see the open horizon. And that's exactly what the Neptune-Jupiter conjunction actually could talk about. But I think this Jupiter can really talk about your social status, improve. Again, it might be some type of spiritual involvement. I think from a negative perspective, Jupiter in your 10th can actually indicate that I kind of become intoxicated by the success. I become way too confident about it, or sometimes a little bit greedy as well. So with Pisces, I think the key is that I receive and then I give something back to the universe as well. So once you gain money, for instance, you might want to reinvest that, or maybe you just want to be giving something to the homeless and so forth. So the universe recognizes your good intention. Now, as I mentioned, the second part of the year, Jupiter will be in your 11th house. It could actually, I love Jupiter in the 11th. Even I've got a Capricorn cusp on the 11th. Let me just share my personal story. Whenever Jupiter goes into my 11th, even though it's in Capricorn, in my case, in the 11th house, it always gives me some financial boost. And one of the reasons is because Jupiter's favorite placement is the 11th house. This is what we call as a lottery winner position. So it is because we might be meeting benefactors in our life. We might be meeting very good friends who are going to be very helpful towards you. It might be the ability to expand your salary, or to join associations and groups who are going to give you enlightenment. It's very much about gains from the businesses. Of course, if the work was done in a very appropriate way. I like to mention with Jupiter that it's never a good idea to cut corners. It always gives opportunities, but once you cut the corners, actually it takes it away. So there is always a little bit of a danger with Jupiter being, you know, in a very good dignity. And actually Jupiter loves spending time in the sign of Aries, a fiery planet in a fire signs. So it gives us confidence to actually become visible in the world. The 10th and the 11th houses are the most social houses. Those are associated with public recognition. So you can really be noticed by others. And this is something I very much like. Now, Jupiter rules your 7th house, right? So actually it could bring in marriage. It could bring in just a relationship, or a friendship turns into a relationship, but it could be marriage and it could be divorce as well. So it could really go to the two ways. But even if it's a divorce, it's for the greater good, because you're going to be meeting someone else instead. And it might be through socialization, it might be through your friends. You can easily make friends while Jupiter is in the 11th, kind of like everything happens effortlessly. Networking, clubbing, organizations, you can really benefit from those. It might be actually an indication that you need to be in service to your friends. Remember that the South Node is in your 6th house and North Node is in the 12th. So somehow being at service to your friends or to others, or becoming a little bit charitable, possible. But I think you're going to have plenty of big ideas coming in 2022. Do not take on too many responsibilities, because you can easily become scattered. Now, the year will be starting actually with the Venus retrograde in your 8th house. Now, Venus will be moving into the sign of Capricorn on the 5th of November, and we'll be spending 4 months there. And in December 19th, it's going to go retrograde with Pluto on its side. Now, 8th house, from a positive perspective with Venus, it's all about looking at the intimate relationships in your life. So why am I not able to be intimate with my partner? Can I actually share my deepest secrets with my partner? Is the intimacy working between us? Does the money somehow come between me and my partner? Because maybe the partner is spending too much money, maybe I'm spending too much money, maybe I don't feel worthy enough because my partner or me earns more money. And these can be a wedge in your sexual as well as intimate relationship. Kind of like sometimes with Venus retrograde in the 8th, we have got this psychic connection, and then we expect the partner to actually pick up on our vibes, and it does not always happen. So I think this Venus retrograde here also says that simplicity is a key, and sometimes we just need to be no sugarcoating, being straightforward but not so hurtful. Kind of like finding the balance while I'm talking to my partner about certain issues. It might be about sex, it might be about money, but it definitely brings that merging element with your lover or with your partner into the picture. Some secrets can actually be revealed to you about your partner also. There is this healing and transformation of the relationship this year for you. Now, sometimes with Venus in the 8th, being retrograde, it might be bringing attentions to you why I am obsessive, why I'm jealous in the relationship, or why does my partner do that? So there needs to be an element of a understanding. Now, Venus actually rules, Venus rules your 12th house, as well as it rules your 5th house. So this could actually talk about things like getting pregnant, and this topic can be coming back. There is so much going on around sexuality here. So am I using sex as a manipulation in the relationship, or does my partner try to control me in somehow? Why am I insecure? Why is my partner insecure? So actually, from a partner's perspective, Venus is ruling the 6th house. Is that because my partner has got some type of mental issues? Venus retrograde in the 8th can bring some unpleasant psychic experiences as well. So you might feel haunted by ghosts. You might feel that someone is trying to give you a message. Remember, the North Node is in the 12th. Venus retrograde starts in the 8th this year. So those are all about internal things, all about fears. Maybe someone or something is trying to give you a message, but you're pushing it away because I'm very scared of it. So how are you going to get intimate in your 8th house matters? And that might be actually a significant topic for you. Now, another thing which I wanted to look at, because I looked at the ingress chart of the sun moving into Gemini, and those who were born between 14th to 20th of June, actually they're going to have a sun square Neptune in their solar return chart. Now, this could be actually sometimes I am completely confused about who I am. So it is somehow prompting you to come to terms who you are. And it can start very slowly. I kind of feel lost when I'm trying to find my way in this incarnation, and I'm feeling lost. I might start actually asking questions, relevant questions about what I want to be having in this life. Remember that Neptune is actually in your 10th and 11th house. Sorry, 10th house. So it's all about, am I doing the right vocation? Is it my life purpose? And I'm very confused about it. It could actually indicate a weakened ego as well. So you can become very helpful towards others, and then you can ignore your own vitality. So just be very mindful about it. I kind of feel like this year is very spiritual for you. It's very possible that you feel defeated, kind of like you are a victim of a treachery altogether, and it might be in your personal relationship, or you might feel that your boss betrayed you. Maybe the boss has been promising a promotion for you, and then actually it's given to someone else. That's why you're going to start thinking about, okay, what other options I am having. I think relationship is huge for you this year, because Juno will be squaring your ascendant as well. The entire, it is going to be squaring your ascendant in your solar return chart. So it might be about wanting to be in a steady relationship, but I fear commitment. In that case, the 12th house North Node would be actually a, make sense, because you're going to have to conquer those. You might not want to jeopardize any of your commitments. You might need to be somehow balancing out your ambitions with your other commitments as well. It might be about, okay, what are my desires? The desires is probably to be with someone as well, but it could actually indicate a rocky relationship. So that could be the case if you were born between 14th to the 20th of the month. So guys, I'd like to wish you all the best for 2022. I think you had quite a rocky 18 months behind you, and now it's all about building on your future. So make sure you utilize your Gemini rising sign and come up with plenty of ideas. Thank you, everyone, and see you very shortly with another videos. Bye-bye.